Hi team. Today I woke up and chose violence. I'm going to talk about setting up for body change. So I'm going to go over why I do the things that I do when I get people to set up for weight loss or putting on muscle or putting on body fat if that's your goal. But most of the time it's weight loss and people get emotional about it, and I'm not going to be emotional at all. And if you get triggered by this, if this upsets you, then I'm sorry, but this is how I like to do it. So, we're going to go through and talk about creating levers. So, the levers are how we can create consistency so that we can always have a stable foundation or platform that we can come back to if we are uncertain. If you don't have these levers in place and you try to pull random things, you'll have no idea what works. You'll have no idea where you started, and you will have no idea how it impacted your body composition. So I have 5 levers that I get people to create, consciously or subconsciously. Sometimes I don't talk about them as levers. In fact, this is the first time I put it out like this. So these are the 5 levers which I like to create because they're all important to have in a lifestyle. So you don't need high intensity exercise to lose weight, but you should have it for your health and challenging your physical body. And it's important. All of these are important to be in control of and know what is comfortable for you to minimize the stress and chances of you getting out of a consistent routine. So, number 1, total energy consumption. This is how much food you eat in total. And although you don't need to track calories all the time, tracking calories is a skill. It is something which allows you to understand how much food you are consuming. You don't need to do this. Not everyone has the time to do this. But what you need to understand is that to create an energy in or your energy consumption lever, you have to be aware of how much food you are consuming and just make it consistent. You don't have to track calories, but tracking calories gives you a pretty accurate number to what you're eating at the moment. And if that needs to change, or if you're just eating a certain number and your body weight's not changing and you've got all these variables in place, we're just creating awareness around them rather than trying to change anything straight away. So total energy consumption, your meal times and amounts, because everyone has different cravings throughout the day, and you can optimize your meal times and your meals to suit your personality, your cravings, and you can do that, and you are allowed to have dessert. Next, mid to high intensity exercise duration. This is just workout routine. It's good to have one. A lot of you guys have one. A lot of people have one. Just make it consistent and don't try to overdo your high intensity exercise in an endeavor to put on more muscle or put on or lose more weight. Like, just stick to a routine and then maybe pull that lever if necessary. 4, low intensity exercise duration. This is how much energy that you burn relevant to your lifestyle. You don't even have to change anything. We're just creating awareness around what you already do. Number 5, stress, sleep, and supplements. A lot of the time, the way that your body regulates your hormones will be impacted by the amount of sleep and stress that your body's holding on to at any one point, and any other supplements that you may be taking which regulate your moods, hormones, etc., can also impact the way that your body metabolizes energy and holds water at any one point. So it's important not to get caught up in the mini ups and downs of the entire journey. A marathon always generally starts and finishes roughly in the same location. I have no fucking clue if that's true. I've never run a marathon. But most of the time, it's flat because people can spectate. And there's hills in between. And if you haven't run the marathon, you could have said it was 42K flat. That's not how it works. There's hills, there's valleys, there's shit everywhere. But if you are expecting a linear journey, don't. Don't get caught up in the emotion of what the scales say just because they go up or down. They are telling you, they are guiding you on how the levers that you are pulled are impacting your body composition. Cool. Now, I'm 5 minutes on the intro screen. The rest of it won't take as long because I've already covered the main points. Total energy consumption. Literally the amount of calories that you eat day to day. If you're more chaotic, you can look at it as a weekly total. And then if you wanted to lose weight over time, decrease it a little bit. If you wanted to put on weight, put on muscle, you should be in a surplus most of the time. It's important to know that when people go through dietary phases, all the fucking diets that are out there, paleo, keto, carnivore, vegan, I'm a vegan, all these different diets, they may alter things that make you feel like you're getting big results really fast. But most of the time, you're changing the amount of water and energy that is being stored in your body. If you are on a keto diet, then you may lose heaps of body weight in water and even glycogen stores because you burn all of it up, and you might lose 5 kilos in a couple of weeks, and you might think that's amazing. And you're like, man, keto's really done it for me. But it doesn't make you immune to like the way that energy in, energy out works. It is more complicated than that, but most of the time it isn't. So people will rebound out of keto, put 6 kilos back on and say, oh man, I'm a piece of shit. No, you're not. Just don't get caught up in the ups and downs of things. Understand that the diet that you choose to have will impact your body in one way or another. If you start a diet phase, your body will hold on to food before it starts to let go of body fat. It'll hold on to more energy because you are taking food away, or taking energy away. So initially it tries to hold on to more, but then it eventually gives way. When it's like, oh, we're not actually starving. We're just like, we're just doing a small little change. Then it'll let go of some body fat. Here is a TDEE calculator, total daily energy expenditure. I'll put this in the link or the caption of this video so that you can click on it, go figure it out. I have my own one that I use, which I couldn't put in here, but it takes into consideration your low intensity exercises more. I use steps, as I said, but this is fine. Normally your height, body weight, age, activity levels from a high intensity perspective and low intensity perspective all come into play. It'll spit out a number and you use that as a reference. That doesn't mean that that is your number. And everyone's going to be different because everyone's going to have a different history of eating, which I think comes up very soon. But you need to have a consistent amount of food before you try to change how much food you eat. You don't just be like, I want to start a weight loss. I'm going to eat 1,500 calories because, yeah, you'll be in a weight loss. But where did you come from? How much were you eating before that? How much are you going to come back to if you're like, oh, that's too much? Otherwise you'll just rebound and go to fucking 4,000 in a day and you'll be like, oh, I don't know what's happening. So just create a lever of consistency with the amount of food that you eat. Mealtime manipulation. It's important to just have meals that suit you. If you're someone who has breakfast a lot but isn't hungry and then you crave dessert in the evening, it might be easier to just not eat breakfast and set a meal up for dessert. It's not going to affect your body massively if you eat after 6 p.m. Some people get hungry in the evening, but believe eating after 6 p.m. will massively affect their ability to make changes to their body. It's not true. It just isn't. Show me something that says that it is. It can impact your quality of sleep if you go to bed with a full stomach. So it does impact that, which we touch on sleep at the end, but not true. Next slide just talks about these are different ways that you can distribute this. So I've actually got these, I've pulled these and made these up in my nutrition tables that I use for people. Mealtime manipulation. A majority of your carbs should be consumed before and after workouts, as that's when you will have more energy to do your workouts, which are going to be mainly carbohydrate based or glycogen based from carbohydrate. And your body will also put a more carbohydrate back into your muscles after workouts closer to the time that you work out. So if you finish a workout, eat some carbs, it'll go back in rather than eating carbs later on in the day where you haven't worked out, it will store that energy slightly differently. Slightly. Protein amount doesn't matter too much throughout the day. People used to think it did. It doesn't. As long as you're getting the minimum amount prescribed throughout the day. I'll have to do another video on what that looks like in the future. But here, just example 1, 5 meals. You've got post-workout, because most of you guys train in the morning, post-workout, lunch, afternoon tea, dinner, dessert. 20% of protein in each meal. The carbs start high. You got 50% of your carbs in the first 2 meals. But then as fats are more satiating, if you've looked at our macronutrient guide, then fats are more satiating. So as you go to sleep, you won't wake up as hungry. How good's that? Example 2, 4 meals a day. If you don't want to eat 5, eat 4. 25% of your protein distributed throughout those 4 meals. Carbs, 60% in the first 2 meals. Your fats increase over a day. For numbers, have a look at that TDEE calculator. I will do another one on how you can actually pull these levers and what amount you can pull these levers in terms of food, how much you should cut out, etc. Beautiful. Amount of exercise you do. This is simple. Create a training routine and stick to it, or just show up to the gym and do the ones that I give you. Don't do too much, but don't be a potato. Your high intensity training should be focused on developing strength, muscle, ability to move, and your cardiovascular health. You shouldn't just slam high intensity workouts because it's going to burn more calories. Like, why? It might work to lose weight, but if you're not stimulating the muscle that you have and you're trying to induce a massive deficit of the amount of energy that you burn in a day, some of that tissue that you burn will be muscle. You might lose 6 kilos in, say, 2 weeks. Some of that will be muscle because that is too much and your body holds on to muscle as a luxury. So if it needs to get rid of some, it will. So show up, train strength, movement, muscle, and your cardiovascular system. Don't use high intensity exercise to lose weight. It's just not recommended. And this is what happened to The Biggest Loser, which was the worst thing that happened to the health and fitness industry, because people were like, oh man, I see those people losing 30 kilos in 10 weeks. And then most of them put it all back on, which is great. And they shot their metabolism. So if they went back to their baseline levers, which they started beforehand, because they pulled so many fucking levers at the same time, the baseline that they had before The Biggest Loser actually changed. That it's true. 6 years after The Biggest Loser, they had an average of like negative 500 calories that they burnt on average per day after The Biggest Loser. 6 years after finishing it. Anyway, tangent there, but don't do that. Now this says intensity. This is low intensity. This is also simple. This is mainly the indirect amount of work that you do as part of your lifestyle. The amount of steps you do, the job that you have, playing with your family, all the indirect stuff, which isn't the same as a high intensity workout. Simple lever to create is how many steps do you do in a day? Then just do it consistently. Make up lost steps when needed and account for long walks with extra food. Yeah, don't just think, oh, I went on a long walk. I'm going to burn more energy today. Like, no, if you're on a plan, if you've got levers, if you go on a long walk, you burn an extra 300, 400, 500 calories, like, please eat that. Don't just sit on the fence and be like, oh, I did some more work. Good, I'm good. No, just stick to the plan, create the levers. Don't go off the plan. Otherwise, if you pull one lever too hard or if you pull 1 or 2 levers too hard at any one time, you start to create a discomfort within your body. You start to get cravings and it decreases your capacity to comply to the plan, which is what really breaks diets, is people that don't, or things that stop you from complying to the plan. So yeah, anyway, a lot of this stuff is just your lifestyle. Don't overthink it, but steps is the lever that you can make consistent. Sleep stress supplements. A poor sleep routine will affect the amount of energy you burn indirectly throughout the day. A tired human will minimize unnecessary energy expenditure every minute for an entire day. If you're tired, you will just choose the easy option all day. It's that simple. That affects the amount of low intensity exercise that you do that isn't your steps. You can still get all your steps, but if you're at your desk and the amount that you twitch, the amount that you do little calf raises and twitch your legs and jump around, that can add up hundreds of calories over a week, thousands even. It's little minute things that you don't even think about, that you twitch and you move in ways which you wouldn't normally if you were tired. If you're tired, you just do the easiest thing and you conserve as much energy as possible. Stress and cortisol are actually great for weight loss as it gets you active and productive to go do things. Chronic stress and cortisol makes you less susceptible to its effects, that's an E, and will also change the way that you store your body fat. So it literally does, and you should hear much more educated people than me talk about it, that high cortisol and insulin release a chemical called lipoprotein lipase that stores more fat around your midsection because it needs, when you're stressed, it thinks that your organs need more energy. So it puts more energy towards your organs, and your more energy is always fat. It's more energy. Fat is just energy in storage. That's what I'm saying. So to minimize your stress, do breath works, do meditations, do journaling and reflections. This will drop your brainwave state out of the productive and analyzing alpha waves to compassionate and reflective waves of beta brainwaves. This will literally alter the chemistry in your blood. It will. This is one of the reasons why we do breath work. Every human has a small amount of hormone fluctuation that happens, especially females. This will affect how much water that is being held onto the body at any one point. This can result in a feeling and look of bloating on any given day. Supplements can also alter your hormones or water retention and will affect the way that your body feels and looks. Again, these are short-term things which can create emotional distress in the long term. Don't get emotional or stressed about the amount of fat on your body. It's likely just going to cause you to hold more water or even glycogen in your body, which will set you off more. Just set up the variables and trust that you are not an exception to science. In summary, build the levers before you start a weight journey, a weight manipulation journey. You don't have to, but if you just start pulling random levers without understanding where they were in the first place, you'll have no reference point and you'll have no idea what works and what's shit. Don't make the mistake of thinking you need to pull all 5 at the same time. That's a fast way to induce a habit rebound and get amazing results for just a week. Slingshot the other way, because every part of your identity is calling you back to what was normality. And if you don't set these levers up, you have no idea what normality is. Then just pull 1 lever at a time, maybe 2, depends on your goals. But this is why people get a coach, is to tell them what to do. If you want to do this by yourself, this is how you do it. Create levers and pull 1 at a time. And these are your levels again. So I hope that was useful. Sorry for the long one, but this is super important. Any questions? Drop a comment. If this was useful, please like it and let me know what else you want me to touch on. Thanks.